Hello once again, YouTube. This is a follow-up video to the UPR catch can installation video that I did. I said I would be doing another video similar for the cold air intake system installation. This particular one that I got is the AEM brand for two reasons. Number one, the price. It's only $287, $289, something like that. But also, the kit comes with two fully divorced intake pipes that are aluminum mandrel bent, and they come in a nice gunmetal finish. And I'll show you my reason for wanting that in just a moment. Comes with a multitude of hose clamps, isolator, washers, nuts, and their retrofit for the air filter box, the stock air filter box, and their proprietary dual inlet, single oval oilless filter, which is the reason, another reason that I went with AEM. No oil, so that means no gunk on my mass airflow sensor down the line. But you will need. Oh, wait a second! I told you I was going to tell you the other reason for the color. That is my wheel color. It is the stock Ford 20-inch Sport 6-spoke wheels, and they have an almost identical gunmetal gray finish on the AEM pipes. Maybe a touch darker, not a whole lot. But you will, for this installation, be needing a 10mm socket to take off your negative battery terminal. There's actually two connections that go on that particular stud right there, and a 7mm socket for the hose clamps. Just makes it a lot easier than using that good old slot tip that you could use, but this is a very easy installation. There's not a whole lot to it. If you did a catch can installation or followed my UPR installation, then you'll know that it's not really difficult to do it all. But basically what you are going to start with is taking off your terminal, negative terminal, obviously. Let the car cool down and whatnot. But you are also going to disconnect your air filter box. These two clips pop down right here. You'll loosen this hose clamp, and this box, once you take those clips off, it gives kind of a pull towards you, and all you have to do to get that out of there is just kind of give it a little rotate and a little pull and set that off to the side. As you can see, I've already disconnected this one also, just for the sake of time. But when you loosen this hose clamp, you'll also want to loosen this hose clamp down here. The nut is actually on the back side, right there, as you can see. It's very easy to get to, even though it's on the back side. It's all open air, basically. And you'll loosen them both up, and you'll want to put one hand on this pipe, one hand on this pipe, and as you're just kind of massaging it, manipulating it a little bit, you pull them apart, and eventually they'll pop free. And then the same goes for this one. Once this one is free, it's actually very easy. This one now fully, rotates by itself, and you'll just kind of do the same thing. Just give it a little tug, little working it off there, and eventually it will let go. I'm trying to do this left-handed. Give me just a second. We'll get this all finished up here. Two hands is a lot easier. Just kind of back and forth, working it up, and there it goes. Okay, so now we have our air temperature sensor that we're going to have to disconnect because we're not using this pipe anymore. This old Y pipe. It's not a bad design, just by the way, for everybody who's naysayers. The only part that could be considered a design flaw is this corrugated rubber pipe right here, but you have to remember that air restriction is only as restrictive as the filter that you put into it. So the paper is actually the most restrictive thing in the entire system, and basically you are benefiting from the free flow filter that you're going to be putting in the most. The pipes are basically just for looks. And brand-wise, honestly, how many different ways can you make a bent pipe? And who can make it better? That's kind of a silly argument in my world, my point of view. But again, that's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. If you want to spend $500 to $700 on another brand just for having the name or having way bigger pipes or whatever, then that's up to you. But just remember that these turbos can only suck in so much air at a time, so the bigger the pipe doesn't necessarily mean the better the flow you're going to have. So just anyway, now that I'm rambling, this is very easy to get out. It has just a standard clip on there, and mine is covered with a little piece of tape. So I'm going to peel back the tape, and it's usually just push down. Yeah, it's just a little push down connector right there. You'll just kind of push in on it, pull up, and it'll pop right out. And the wire we're just going to set off on top of the air filter for the moment. Let's see, the sensor itself, I believe it just, ouch. I believe it's just a quarter turn one way or the other. But I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so it is what I thought. It's just a quarter turn to get this thing out. I actually had to very, very carefully with a towel over it and gently using a pair of channel locks break mine free because it was in there pretty good. I kind of torqued my thumb a little bit trying to get it out at first, but just realize that you very gently need to work this sensor out of here. It's a quarter turn to the left, so I've already loosened it obviously, but it will be seated in there like this, and you will just quarter turn to the left and it will pull straight out. You'll see an O-ring right here. There's your little sensor. That's all it is. It's just a little capacitor type sensor that feeds data back to the ECU. But anyway, the O-ring will be removed. You're not going to reuse it, but what I'm going to do is I just have a little box of parts that I've been keeping all the stuff that I've taken off and putting them in, so I'll just take this O-ring and put it in a little baggie with the rest of the little small parts that I've been acquiring recently. But to take that off, you basically just want to use a um, a small screwdriver, a small pick of some kind. Just very, very carefully pick that off of there. And what you'll end up doing is the grommet that you will be using in the insert of the, let's go over here for a second, the new pipes. They're basically just using a grommet, same as the UPR setup. It will basically just snugly fit in there. No quarter turn system or anything like that. It's just a pressure fit, which is fine. But that's why they want you to remove that O-ring, is because it's basically just going to be in the way at that point. The grommet will actually seat up around the area above where that O-ring is now, because you see that tang right there. You'll go right down flush with that. So I'm going to stop for a moment. I'm going to pick off this O-ring, and I'll show you guys what I did to install it into the new pipe. Okay, so the sensor is in. Like I said before, all I did was pick off the O-ring. It's very soft, so it'll come off real easy. I just used a small screwdriver. I used a small bit of WD-40 on the body. Let's see, the body of the sensor, the upper cylindrical area, not the sensor itself. The lubricant is basically just to help it slide into the grommet easily. I just need a very light coat, and just twisting it in and seating it down to that tang. I think you can kind of make it out on the bottom if this camera will focus. Let's see here. Guys, I'm sorry. I hate my phone. Anyway, there it goes. The tang on the bottom there, you can't go any further in it, but you need to seat it all the way down to that. The little hole here should be pointing up when it's all said and done. Now, the next phase of all this is a lot of prep work. There are a lot of, as you can see, band clamps. It's not difficult at all. It's just a lot of prep work. So basically what you will want to start with is your filter box retrofit can here. And they give you this hood seal, this rubber hood seal gasket right here. And what you're going to do is, from where the holes are, you're going to want to start in this corner right here. And you're going to force it down onto the top edge all the way around. And just this material, it has a rigid groove around the bottom. You can kind of see there's some small, like, little teeth marks. There we go. So those little ribs all the way around. Those are actual little pieces of metal inside of the rubber itself. They're kind of like vertebrae, basically. Think of it that way. So as they come around, they'll bend to whatever shape you're trying to mate them with, and basically you will go all the way around, all the way up, all the way around, and you'll kind of want to just kind of help the material along, and then you'll come down, And there's actually a tag length that will be off of this, about 2 inches, I'd say, somewhere in there. And you can cut it with scissors. You probably need some heavier scissors, like kitchen shears, something like that. What I did was I used a pair of end nips, side cutters, and just clipped the bottom and took a razor blade and just slit the top of it off very easily. Just did it flush, you just want it to be flush, and I kind of sculpted it a little bit to match the bulb on the other side. But once you've done that, let's go back here. They provide you this isolator. Now, I haven't gotten this far along yet, but I'm hoping that this isolator is the right size compared to the UPR isolator. I'm guessing it is. But basically, there's a nut and a washer that go on the bottom stud, and you'll just crank that down onto this little flange here. And it will accept the, there's a hole, there it is, there's a corresponding flange on the intake pipes themselves that lock it all together and whatnot. So what you will do is, after you get your hood gasket all installed, you'll put the filter in the can, actually, because it's a very tight fit, and you want to put your band clamps on to keep it from falling out. They don't need to be tight, just enough to keep them from slipping off, falling out, kind of thing. And if you notice, you'll want your nut for the band clamp to be pointing up. Also keeps the smooth side, also keeps the smooth side up, so it looks nice when it's all fit and finished. And then set that off to the side. Now, the fun part, all these lovely band clamps here. There will be 2 fittings for your intake pipes. This one is more difficult just because it's bigger, ganglier, hard to work with sometimes. But basically, you will put the fitting on the new intake pipe to start with, and on the inside you'll see where the pipe comes in, and it will stop at that that line right there on the inside, and just stop it right there. Tighten up your band clamp, not too much, because you probably will have to actually move it around a little bit more once it's all installed. Same goes for this. This is just a straight coupler. I'll probably change this later because I don't like the way this looks, but that's just me. I thought they came with gunmetal gray ones like it is in the picture. It's not. They're just black rubber. But anyway, the same deal with these. The nut needs to go to the top so you can get to them easily. Split the difference when you put this fitting on this pipe first. So it's about center, a little over center maybe. Lightly tighten this one down and get this one loosely on there, ready to go. This is actually kind of annoying to get onto this pipe, believe it or not, because it's so soft compared to the other one. But you really gotta kind of mess around with this thing to get it to get on to the wide open throttle pipe. But once you have them both seated, don't tighten anything down yet. Same goes for this one. Get it on, get it lightly fixed, but don't tighten anything down yet, because you'll want to go ahead and reconnect our sensor here. Oops. Goes in same way it came out. And I'm just going to take this excess tape and just tidy it up like that. And that's ready to go. Now, onto the filter. The old paper filter, which this one is brand new pretty much still because I only have 1,500. Actually, I just turned 2,000 miles on the truck. This will go off to the side for later use if I decide to go back to stock. And oh look, a dragonfly. Lovely. Anywho, so here's what we got. A big empty box. So this is actually a pretty good setup because the air coming in is, it comes down, it circulates inside, cools off, and gets sucked directly into the filter. So it's good design. All right, so what you're gonna want to do is place the filter in here, just like on the OEM. Sorry, I'm trying to get two things at once here. Just like on the OEM filter box, there's little tangs that will match the tangs in the back of the filter box housing, and this will actually just gotta kind of get it into place. And once it's into place, the OEM clips will just hold it right in place. Why is that not going back? Because it's not on there square. That's why. Take this off again. What's going on? Oh, please tell me that's not what it is. My UPR catch can for the clean side is in the way. Isn't it? Yes, it is. Always something. Come on. Well, I got a quick and easy fix for that. Be right back. Alright, so here's what's up. The UPR clean side catch can bracket right there that bolts onto the corner of the airbox filter housing does not affect the OEM one, but of course it does affect the new AEM one. So what I had to do was hold it in there, make a mark, and I had to cut the corner out of the actual metal. I just used a saw, zinged off about, looks to be about a 1/4 inch or so. And now it fits pretty good. It is steel, so you will, like, if you did the UPR mod or something else that goes in that same location, you'll want to do the same thing. And that's how it had to come through. Literally that much. Oh well, that's why it's a kit. Anyway, the little hole doesn't really matter because there's these holes over here. They're just breather holes of some type. But the clips and everything fit the way they're supposed to now. And now I have to go back and put this back in here real quick. Give me just a second. Oop. Oops, the metal goes down. Got to get back to where I was before we started all this. I apologize for the delay. Okay, so sorry, the filter goes back in there, band clamps go back in there, and then we take this whole thing, and just like our OEM airbox goes on there, that piston is in my way, slides in, butts in, and the clips have you just gotta kind of position it right where it's gotta go. Get that clip in there. And this, now that both are snapped in, we can come back here and get our tubes lined up. They will, I really wish I had a camera person. They will move around pretty easily if you didn't tighten anything down yet. So you want to just guide them into the flange, and then you'll see down there's that isolator and that flange for the bolt that we're going to have to use. So I am so sorry. I'm going to have to come back. Okay, and there you go. You're all done. No, I'm just kidding. This was actually kind of a pain, honestly, to get it in to its final fitment. I went ahead and tightened everything because I was getting very frustrated. But anyway, the isolator, the top side of the isolator needs to be put on first after you get this box in there and snap down into place. You will almost not be able to put these band clamps on until you get this isolator fixed in position. So once that is tight, fixed, and everything is where it's supposed to be lined up, you're gonna have to shove this filter all the way up through. There's a secondary flange, more like a lip, right under this band clamp, that it's got to snap up over the housing, the new air filter box here, because it holds the groove that this band clamp actually rides in place up over it. If you try to put the filter in prematurely and then tighten the band clamps, these pipes will just whoop, pop right out because they have these flanges pre-greased. You can see my fingers kind of shiny there, but they're already greased, and when I was trying to put it in initially, it just kept flopping back out. So you really got to make sure that the pipes are secure to the isolator. Make sure that your connections aren't tight until you get all of this situated first. But once you do all that, that's it. It's just the two pipes, the filter, the sensor relocation, and 6 band clamps. That's it, guys. That's how it comes. I should have done a stock test now that I'm sound clip now that I'm thinking about it, but there's plenty of other videos out there on stock sound clips for the kit, but I want to go ahead and do one for this because I haven't seen one yet. Maybe there's one up by now, but I'm going to set you guys down here. This is a AEM cold air intake after installation sound clip is a cold start. Sounds pretty good. Not too much over stock. This is in cabin. Oops. I don't know how well you can hear that. It's good. You can actually hear the bypass valve hitting a little harder. You can hear a little better throatiness on the intake note, and yeah, pretty good. I like it. So good for looks for the setup that I'm doing, and a little nice overstock sound. So thank you guys for checking out this video. Hopefully it helped some of you guys out. I'm sorry it wasn't more thorough and detailed, but I can always do it better if I had somebody to hold the camera for me. But I don't know how many of you noticed, but in my other video I was missing my engine bay cover. Still missing the engine bay cover, but as soon as I get it back from what it's getting done to, I'll make a video about that also, along with this guy. It's going to be swapped out also. We'll do a little how-to on those and show you what I'm going to have up under the hood coming up very soon. Thank you guys again. This is the fit and finish on it. Just one last look. See y'all later.